During the month of February, MBR Ministries will be airing an extremely serious and very important topic, uncovering to you the truth about how they have used and sadly still use many so-called blacks to do their evil bidding and sell your own people out. Hello, YouTube viewers, and welcome to our new YouTube channel, How You Livin' Really, the only channel and show like it on YouTube and the only one in the world. Do any of you really know the truth as to why they, all nations of people, hate us so-called black people? You ever want to know why? Email mbrministries@gmail.com. We will teach you why. No so-called black people. This is why most of you have been and are suffering today. You did not listen to the voice of your Elohim, but instead chose to listen to wicked men to your own destruction.
Chicago in particular was a place where the party's ideals especially resonated. It was then the second largest American city, and due to decades of discriminatory policies, also one of the most segregated. Chicago's mayor at the time, Richard J. Daley, opposed neighborhood integration, and in the 1950s, the city had begun to redevelop certain neighborhoods, pushing low-income residents out and into densely packed, high-rise public housing in already overcrowded neighborhoods. Black people were pushed primarily to the south and west side of Chicago. A large Puerto Rican population was here in Lincoln Park, and poor white people were concentrated here in Uptown. These groups all faced similar problems.
They all had dilapidated schools, they all had dilapidated homes, they were all being drafted into Vietnam. Very few of those communities had health care.
In 1969, Hampton led the Panthers towards an unexpected alliance, a coalition of activists working across racial lines against a corrupt city government that threatened their communities.
We're going to fight racism, not racism, we're going to fight this out there.
What they had in common was their poverty. So they was building a revolution based on class solidarity that transcends race, that they all had the same hell to pay.
Hampton named the group the Rainbow Coalition. It included the Black Panthers, a Puerto Rican group called the Young Lords, and a group called the Young Patriots, made up of largely poor white migrants from Appalachia who had moved to Chicago seeking economic opportunity.
We don't hate the motherfucker white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow.
I don't mean sing Kumbaya and make a quilt. I'm talking about bringing them together on common things they could unite on. Not everything, but who could say that children do not deserve to have a healthy meal?
If we work with anybody from coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism.
Hampton and other Panthers helped the Young Lords and Young Patriots launch their own social programs. And it was working. Members were traveling across the country to organize Rainbow Coalition chapters.
Particularly where Black Panther chapters were, but also in these rural white communities as well, to bring the revolution to bear. This blows people's minds. These people are not supposed to get along, but here they are operating as brothers of the struggle, as revolutionaries against the capitalist structure. And that was the threat to the state at the local level, but also at the national level.
In 1968, the FBI had sent around this internal memo. It outlined goals to prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups and prevent the rise of a messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. It wasn't written about Hampton specifically, but by 1969,
Chairman Fred Hampton was the one that fit the bill.
The revolution was in the air. And the ways in which the Panthers was able to transcend those racial lines, especially the charismatic leadership of one like Fred Hampton, they saw him as a greater threat even than Martin Luther King and Malcolm X ever was.
In one FBI memo about the Black Panthers breakfast program, They claimed their real purpose was to poison minds with anti-white propaganda and indoctrinate youngsters in hate and violence.
The FBI, under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, had deemed the Black Panther Party as the #1 threat to the internal security of this country.
The FBI operated a counterintelligence program called COINTELPRO. It was a program that targeted dissident political groups in the U.S. Their methods typically went outside the law.
They were using tactics such as assassination, discrediting false narratives. They were falsely putting people in prison and exile, which were all illegal.
Several Black Panthers were killed or imprisoned, including the party co-founders. In Chicago, the party was also targeted by Mayor Daley and the Chicago police.
Our office was burned down at least 3 times. People would disappear, you never see their bodies again.
Before you go to bed, next time I'm a revolutionary. Make that the last word. In case you don't wake up, that's a mathematical believe it, you might end up in what they call a revolutionary happy hunting ground.
Hampton, a rising star at just 21 years old, knew he was a target, too. He'd been arrested in 1968 for allegedly robbing an ice cream truck and handing out $71 of ice cream. In 1969, he was sentenced to 2 to 5 years in prison. He appealed and was released on bond.
So what did Yah command his people Yasharel to do? 1. Separate from the peoples, not desegregate. 2. To maintain purity. Touch no unclean thing, which were them wicked racist whites and Europeans, and all the others who chose to suppress and wickedly target all of Yah's chosen special people. They labeled blacks or Nikonarum, Reir. We want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to stop by and listen to our truth videos. We appreciate every one of you as we believe it was the will of Elohim that you chose to visit. If any of you need real help and support, counsel, real guidance, you got questions, can use prayer, or just want to talk, feel free to contact MBR Ministries at mbrministries@gmail.com. How You Livin' really is a global ministry outreach initiative of MBR Ministries. All rights reserved.